Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So what we're going to be doing today is watching a What Culture video of the 10 greatest SmackDown moments ever. Can't wait to give it a look. SmackDown, in my mind, has always been superior to Raw, just a better product overall. So yeah, let's just take a look.
We are coming up to just had remember fondly the 1000th episode of SmackDown, and you can just edit those depending on when you hear these words. And that is quite the accomplishment for WWE. Getting to four figures to begin with is crazy, but it also means the Blue brand has been rocking for 19 years, been on TV for 990 weeks, and given us around 2,000 hours of entertainment. These are ridiculous stats and a testament to how successful the show has been since it arrived during the Attitude Era. While there have been some low moments, it's going well recently, and over time has given us some tremendous memories that warmed our hearts and made our insides sing. When something does that, it seems only fair to tip our hats in its direction and say, well done. So well done. I'm Simon from What Culture, and this is the 10 greatest WWE SmackDown moments ever, open brackets, and I've tried to pick ones that are a little less obvious, because that's just more fun. Close brackets. Number 10, AJ Styles wins his second WWE title. We'll start with a nice recent memory. Only went down in November 2017, just to ensure both old and new fans are on board, and to do that, we turn our attentions to a man everybody loves, also known as AJ Styles. Not only was it amazing to see him win his second World Championship, but there were so many little bits that went along with it that it kept stacking.
I think it happened in England too.
For one, it was the first occasion the WWE title changed hands internationally, as this little doozy went down in Manchester, England. But it also brought an end to the Jinder Mahal experiment, something that had caused controversy throughout the wrestling internet community. For many, knowing that was over added to this and then some. It also helped that the Phenomenal One was the guy to dethrone Jinder. Aside from becoming a hero with the aforementioned detractors, he was a proper babyface, meaning his win felt important and like the switch had some proper weight behind it. Don't forget too that as of me saying these words, AJ hasn't lost that belt, which is one hell of a long reign. Makes this even more special. Number 9, Eddie celebrates his win. Everything that happened after this has made it even more emotional, but when Eddie Guerrero won the WWE Championship in February 2004, it's pretty incredible. Many thought it was impossible. The odds Guerrero overcame were nothing short of amazing. That's why when he came out to cement it on SmackDown as everyone in the arena roared their approval, it felt like we were seeing a segment we'd remember for some time. WWE made it feel like an even bigger deal too because they had a proper celebration. Confetti and balloons rained down from the ceiling, Eddie made his way out through the fans, and it looked like a team had just won the damn Super Bowl. Real. Watching it today is bittersweet to say the least, but you can't help but be taken back by the width and never-ending nature of Guerrero's smile. It could be one of the most deserved victories in SmackDown history, and once you've seen it, you'll never forget it. Number 8, Eddie turns on Ray. 1 year on and much had changed in the WWE, but Eddie Guerrero was still finding ways to make awesome moments no matter what he was presented with. So when he turned heel by turning on his best friend Rey Mysterio due to out-of-control jealousy, it was an angle that was very easy to buy into. Both just made it work, and as any good turn needs, few saw it coming. The assault afterwards was crazy as well, including a suplex on the steel stairs and punching Ray's face so many times, his mask was partially torn. It made for a great visual, and the impending feud had everybody talking. It veered off course a little, given it would soon be about the custody of Ray's real-life son, Dominic. But when you trace back the roots of the program to this beatdown, it's still top stuff. Like every entry in this list, it will stick in your brain for a while and show just how diverse Eddie was as a performer. Good guy, bad guy, it didn't matter. He would and did get the job done. Number 7, the best score ever. 2001 was a tough year for WWE. The Attitude Era was slowly spiraling downwards and the company needed a new position to undertake. That's never easy because it's guesswork at first, and as we saw back then, it was going to take a while before you can put everything back together. What they always got right, however, was how to replace a set. Deciding that a giant fist should be the way to make SmackDown stand out, and they weren't wrong, Creative came up with an interesting way to get rid of the old one. They were going to have Rhino spear Chris Jericho right through it. Not only did it look great, because the gore always did, it sounded like Jericho had been killed, and the crowd that night went crazy for it. Sure, it made no sense why WWE wouldn't just update SmackDown's surroundings, but screw that. This was much more fun and entertaining and probably the highlight of Rhino's WWE run. It's also kind of part of history too, because within the kayfabe world, we'd never have got that huge hand that we all love if it wasn't for this. So if you ever see Jericho or Rhino, you should thank them. They earned it. Number 6, Eric Bischoff invades SmackDown. There was a time, if you can believe it, where the Raw vs SmackDown feud actually felt serious. The two GMs, Stephanie McMahon and Eric Bischoff, were at odds with one another, and they'd do whatever they could to piss the other one off. In 2002, this was taken to a new level. While drowned in controversy due to how WWE handled it, the ending to the Billy and Chuck wedding was actually very well executed. Although the get-out for the wrestlers was their insistence that it was all a publicity stunt, which no one would even think about doing today because it's just wrong, the reveal of Bishop as the Justice of Peace was utterly sublime. For starters, no one actually realised it was him, and the crowd went nuts as he uttered the words, "Did I just say 3 minutes?" The signal for Rosie and Jamal, his heavies, to hit the ring and kick some ass. They even gave a Samoan drop to Stephanie herself. All of this also included a turn by Rico, who allied himself with Eric, and it's just a very good segment that, post-ridiculous excuse, is still talked about today. Like I'm doing right now. Number 5, Daniel Bryan returns. Another recent one, but a moment no one ever thought we'd see. When Daniel Bryan was forced to retire in 2016, seemed like that was that. An incredible career cut short by a concussion issue that was never going to sit well with anyone. But then it all changed. Through constant testing and medical help, Bryan was cleared to come back to the ring, and his first night back was beautiful, even if the rest of the return so far hasn't been. Informing the audience before SmackDown itself thanks to Twitter, fans went nuts as he walked down the aisle and almost killed over when Daniel got into it with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. While he had been given the green light, nobody thought WWE would go all in so quickly, and the pair whooped him all over the place, including a powerbomb on the apron, the hardest part of the ring. It set up a match at WrestleMania where Bryan had his last WWE highlight years earlier, and it was just wonderful all round. I'm even smiling as I say these words. Number 4, Kurt Angle and Stephanie McMahon. WWE knew how to tell a good story in 2000. Often credited to one Chris Kursky, who was the backstage force 18 years ago, this SummerSlam tease came at exactly the right point.
Makes me uncomfortable to look at.
Kiss with Stephanie McMahon made everyone stand up and go, "What the hell? Triple H ain't gonna be happy about that." It was so good it even made the WWE champion, who was The Rock by the way, feel like the third man in a triple threat main event as the game and Olympic gold medalist vied for the affections of Stephanie. It was the timing of this that was perfect. Happening during the last few seconds of SmackDown, you went into the hottest event of the summer knowing exactly what Angle's motivations were. If you wanted to see more, you had to splash the cash. It's a shame the story just died a death after Triple H decided he didn't want his actual partner involved in this. Given how most relationship plots go within wrestling, maybe he did make the right call. Number 3, Vince's speech. The post 9/11 SmackDown was never going to be easy viewing. Even watching it today is hard, as it reminds you how awful this travesty was. It's still difficult to process when presented with something that was happening at the time. With that said, Vince McMahon's rousing speech to kick off one of the first entertainment events after the tragedy was very powerful and spoke as loud as the action he put forth. As mentioned, the show really was the first gathering of its sides following the attack, and seeing talent sharing their thoughts through a camera lens was also rather fitting. It was just so surreal to see everything so stripped back and yet so honest. It's both a harrowing and powerful broadcast. Nothing can replicate that coming together, however, hence why it remains a very curious piece in 2018, and one that almost has some sort of historic significance. Number 2, The Big Show's father's funeral. It actually makes me feel bad to say that out loud given the title of this list, and surely if anybody else had tried to pull this off, we'd be saying it was actually among some of the worst moments in SmackDown history. But in 1999, when WWE did a skit with the Big Boss Man crashing the Big Show's dad's funeral, well, it was oddly entertaining. Hitting supremely silly levels that strolled over the lines of indecency into the safety of parody, Boss Man became the ultimate heel as he sped off through the cemetery with Mr. Show's casket attached to his police car. The big man didn't like that, so he jumped on the back of the vehicle and onto said casket as Boss Man skidded out of Dodge. It was ludicrous. Their feud ended in a squash match because how else could this have gone? But the pitch black humour remains a highlight nearly 20 years later. Number 1, Stone Cold and The Rock face off. Happening just days before WrestleMania 17, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock sat down to discuss their match with Jim Ross in one of the best interviews you'll ever see in all of WWE. There was no sense that wrestling was predetermined or stupid. It was two performers showing what they could do and treating their encounter like it meant more than anything else in the world. It managed to exceed expectations and provide a tease that maybe, just maybe, Austin could turn heel at the showcase of the Immortals. Tension simmered throughout with the closing arguments telling the story of the match before it even happened. Rock promised sweat and blood whilst the Rattlesnake straight up said, "I need to beat you more than anything you can imagine." No one would have guessed he'd align himself with Vince McMahon, and in hindsight it wasn't the smartest move WWE ever made. All of this was gold though. SmackDown gold.
Alright, so yeah, I mean, that was a pretty solid list. I mean, some of them were a little bit questionable, but it just shows the quality of product that SmackDown has put out over the last 19 years, and honestly, I can't wait to see what they keep doing. But with that said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. maybe give some suggestions of what you'd like to see next, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.